Just wanted to do a quick Sunday update for everyone out there, not take up a whole lot of your time. There's not a whole lot making the news that's super important, but there are a few stories I think that point to the future. Now, the first piece of information I'd like to share is the Patriot nurse has been diagnosed with norovirus. That's why we haven't heard from her in quite some time. Those of you who are on her Patreon channel knew this yesterday. I believe she may have posted something about this on YouTube as well, but given the way the algorithm works, I'm sure a lot of you may not have heard this. So, of course, keep her in your prayers. I'm sure she will be back in fighting form in no time at all, given the fact that she's a nurse, very healthy. We also have a President Trump update to do a little bit later. He has said some things that I think are very accurate, and it's going to indicate that things are changing in this country, and they're changing quickly. Also, just wanted to give an update on our friends over Restricted Republic. Justice Knight, Lisa Haven. We, of course, reported that Lisa Haven was revealed as actually a vampire. Justice Knight has attempted to try to expand his horizons here. He was trying to talk to a young lady in Sedona, Arizona, and of course, Lisa Haven couldn't have it, and she used her powers and turned the woman into a statue. So, of gold, of course. So, we don't know what the future holds for those two, but we will definitely keep you updated. However, I always want to make sure to say thank you, humbly, to everyone who continues to join us here every single day. Whether you agree, whether you disagree, as long as we maintain a level of decorum, we can have a discussion. For those of you who have stepped up to the next level and pledged the $1 per month over at Patreon, thank you. Thank you so much for doing that. You're making a huge, huge difference in my life. The reason we have a Patreon channel is because we need to have a place where we can go, a rally point, where we can talk like adults, where we can take the gloves off, where we can just speak our minds. And over there, that's where we can do it now. Heads up, a couple days ago I said we got a video coming. I was hoping to have it done by today. I might have it done by tonight, but tomorrow for sure. Absolutely. And it's going to talk about a very touchy subject with a lot of people. And we're going to kind of dovetail today's stories with that. It's what people are being forced to do and what people are having, the choices they're having to make. I had one person in my comments section on a video say, the only people, I'm paraphrasing here, that are going to go to heaven are the ones who live a holy lifestyle. And if you don't. So this guy truly believes, based on what he's been taught, that he's going to get into heaven based on his works. Now, those of you who know anything about the Bible know that's directly antithetical to what the Bible teaches, but that's what gets typed in my comment section whenever I talk about things that are a little edgy, a little salacious. I'm like, well, you're just not living a holy enough lifestyle, Florida Mucky. Well, perhaps so. Perhaps so, but that's why we have the blood of Jesus, but we don't want to go down that road, do we? It's YouTube. IMF issues warning on global economic stability. Interest rate hikes to battle inflation have created stress and vulnerabilities. The fund's head, Kristalina Georgieva, said the world economy is headed for a difficult year as the fallout from the recent banking crises and the formation of rival economic blocs triggered by the Ukraine conflict threaten to undermine global economic stability. According to her, 2023 will be challenging and is likely to see global growth slow to below 3%, but there are places that are going to do well, primarily Russia and China. This is the issue here. You see, for so long, and the psychological operation here is this. How many of you have, for so long, bought into this garbage about, it's going to be globalism that takes down America? Well, guess what? It's America that's actually causing the grief and the pain and the heartache to the rest of the world. Economists have been saying this for years. If America gets the sniffles, the rest of the world gets a cold. If America gets a cold, the rest of the world gets pneumonia. If America gets pneumonia, the rest of the world, well, guess what? You see, this is how it works when you're the home of the world reserve currency. There's all these conservatives out there that think it's the world trying to take down America when really it's the other way around. And of course, here's what the former president had to say about this. U.S. becoming a banana republic. Now, he largely talks about how it affects him personally, how what Washington, D.C. did to him and his future and what he wanted to do. And he's, of course, ironically speaking from Waco. And, well, I probably shouldn't say what I wanted to say there, but he's right in a lot of ways. In the sense that banana republics, what makes them banana republics is their leaders lead by emotion. They lead by feeling things. And then they assess what their followers are feeling, and then they go and they do that. Now, let's keep that in mind when we read this article. Florida principal let go after failing to notify parents about lesson on Michelangelo's David. Now, some of you might have read this. These were 6th grade kids, and they had a lesson on Renaissance art. And a lot of Renaissance art has to do with sculptures and paintings of people not wearing clothes. Now, I'm going to say this again, and I'm going to say this clearly for those of you that are just too thick-skulled to get it. Pornography is, by definition, pictures and images about the writings of the lives of prostitutes. Let me say it again. And look it up. Pornography is not just the mere image of the human body as God created it, just standing there, so to speak. Pornography is writings and pictures about the lives of prostitutes. You see, technically, that's what the delineation was between Playboy and Penthouse. Playboy was just naked girls. That was it. Naked girls. Not doing anything, but just standing there in different states of dress and lingerie. Penthouse showed things that were regarding sexual activity, and that's where the line was drawn between those two. One was pornography and one was not. Because, of course, there's out there saying, well, you know, if you can show the statue of David, and for those of you that don't know about, here's the statue of David as created by Michelangelo in the early 1500s. That same lesson that caused the whole issue with the Florida principal also included the creation of Adam and the birth of Venus. So, once again, Renaissance art. Now, here's the real problem. Here's the real story. And unfortunately, we've actually got to go to CNN to get the real truth because of the way right-wing media is now. Charter school principal in Tallahassee, Florida, did not follow procedure before a lesson on Michelangelo's statue of David was given to 6th graders. Now, they teach this lesson every year to all 6th graders. She just forgot to send out the notice that there was going to be this type of imagery. And 3 parents complained. Hope Garcia, the former principal at Tallahassee Classical School, told CNN that things had been escalating over the past year. My board chair has not been happy with me, she told CNN, adding that she did not always follow every policy and procedure. Agreeing with Garcia's assessment, Bishop from the school board here told CNN that over time it had become evident the school needed to go in a different direction and with different leadership, and he had expressed that to her on many occasions. She was not let go because of Michelangelo's David lesson, he said. Our school is 2.5 years old. Every year we show that picture in Renaissance art class. Taught to our 6th graders, the problem that arose in this instance was that the procedure for notifying parents of the upcoming lesson was not followed. We aren't trying to ban the picture, he said, referring to the statue of David. We think it's beautiful, but we are going to make sure the concept of parental rights is supreme in Florida and at our charter school. You see, this is the case. There were a few bad apples out there that said that they believe Michelangelo's statue of David is pornographic. And that's just flat out ignorance. Now, what if I told you the most repressive leader in modern Western history, Queen Victoria, actually gifted a statue of this to the museum in England at the time? Yes, you see, the reason, ladies, primarily, you believe it's Christian or moral or right or righteous or decent, or whatever word you want to use, to dress with, down to the sleeves, up to the neck, down to the ankle, hair pulled back in a ponytail, no makeup, 16 layers of clothing to completely make yourself look as asexual as possible, that you believe that that's the Christian right moral thing to do all the time. You believe that because your mom learned that from your grandma learned that from her mother, and then her mother learned it from her mother, who learned it during the Victorian era. It has nothing to do with the Bible. It has nothing to do with Christian teaching. It has to do with this particular woman and the Victorian era, 1837 to 1901. In the Western world, saw a huge repression based on this woman's problem with whatever happened in her life. It was literally her entire mission. And believe it or not, it was her attitude, repressive attitude about this, that led to burlesque shows, that led to brothels, that led to all of these things going on outside. If you had relations with a man one time, from that point, and you weren't married to him, you were at that, and this was Queen Victoria, not me, you couldn't be married from that point on. You were tainted goods. You were sullied at that point. You were a lower caste of society. One event, one time, and you could not legally be married. That's how repressive. Now, what if I told you that this was predicted in The Simpsons? There was a show called Itchy, Scratchy, and Marge. It's a cartoon she was trying to keep her kids from watching. And they predicted that Michelangelo's David, at some point, would be seen as pornography by the hyper-right in this country. The hyper-moralistic right in this country that wrongly believe the Bible teaches that you're supposed to live a holy and moral and Christian life or you're going to hell. And I actually shouldn't have said it that way. This whole, not a Christian life, because that would mean a life of Christ. And this was the man that also told the woman caught in adultery, go and sin no more. And saved her from the mob, the trolls of that day. And believe it or not, you'll see it down in the comment section. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and kick the filter off so that you can see it. And the people that says, well, the Bible says I'm supposed to this, and if I don't, I'm going to hell. If that's what you get from the Bible, then you might as well go stand with the liberals. Because they're the ones who are going to say this. You know what they're going to say? Well, if you can show this to sixth graders, the drag queens are going to say, why can't I go read a book and stand there totally naked? This is a picture of a man totally naked, and you teach this, and you allow sixth graders to see this, so why can't I go into an elementary school, wearing no clothes at all, and just sit there and read them a book? Well, how is that different? Well, I can read them a book about art. How is that different? Why are you discriminating against me? That's what they're going to say. Because they're going to say there's no difference. And they're going to use this example, and they're going to use this example. And because, people want to literalize everything based on her and her teachings and her rule and her reign, this is what's coming next. Now, I want to show you something that I got from a buddy of mine, Tim Bassett. He posted it. It looks like a few weeks ago. I only got the notification day of it. School in America in the 1960s. Now I'm just going to show the imagery here. And it shows what boys used to have to do in high school. Now, this is a question here for the ladies. This is Tim Bassett right here. We'll show that again. If you were on school ground somewhere and there were a bunch of young men with six-pack abs and big muscled out chests just running around in a pair of shorts, do you think that might make you feel a kind of sort of certain way, especially if you were back in high school? Let's show that again. Why wasn't this banned back then? Is my question. Why wasn't this banned back then? Because I don't think there's any woman in the world who'd have said, yeah, you know what, back in high school, If all the guys looked like that, and they were muscled up and running around in a pair of tennis shoes and just a little pair of shorts and showing off their muscles, it might make them think and feel a certain sort of way, and that might, cause might be a stumbling block. That's the favorite word of Christians, isn't it? Don't be a stumbling block to someone's journey to righteousness. You see, this was 1960. This was the MAGA years, right? And ladies, don't tell me it wouldn't, because you know it would. So anyway, and also on that subject, remember the story of the nurse that had the mother who had cancer, who had to open up an OnlyFans to make enough money? Well, here you go. To pay the bills. Here's that horrible, horrible nurse, that horrible, immoral person, and one of those pictures. So anyway, I just want to leave that there. And you can look up overviews of Victorian morality and the effect that it had on society. But this is the one thing I'll agree with him. We are becoming a banana republic, because banana republics rule on emotion. In Uganda, they just passed a law saying that saying you identify as LGBTQ gets you the death penalty. No actions, just saying that you might identify that way. That's all you have to do, and you get, not put in jail, you don't get banished from the land, you don't get fined, you don't lose your job, the death penalty in Uganda. Sounds like here. So I will leave it there. But once again, 24-hour notice. We will definitely have something new up over at the Patreon channel. And it's going to be a kind of a deep dive into the positions people are being put in this country because of the financial issues. They're having to choose between following the Pharisees and the Sadducees that say, you have to live a perfect life. Yeah, don't you dare do anything that might even possibly be morally gray area, or you're going to hell. Don't you do that to feed your family. Don't you do that to pay your bills. No. No, you just wait for it to rain out of the sky. That's basically going to be the idea over tomorrow at Patreon. So God bless. Have a great week. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.